Ah, oops, all spells is ruining legacy. Whatever will we do? Main deck Leyline of the Void. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, but before we get into that, I actually have a special sponsor for today. Carolina Game Tables, which is right down the road from me in Hickory, North Carolina. The Black family that builds these tables loves gaming and has 3 generations of furniture design and decades of game design and gaming experience under their belt. So these tables that you can see on screen here, these are built by gamers for gamers with awesome wide edges and cup holders for a great gaming experience. The tables themselves are built with a frame of solid Indonesian mahogany, and it's carefully monitored and regulated by the government to make sure it's never over-harvested or becomes endangered. Big plus in my book. Their signature gaming table collection features 3 different table types with slightly different features, all of which are at dining height with cup holders and have a nice dining top as well. So if you don't want the recess for gaming space at every time, you can put something over it. These tables are awesome. You might have seen them on live streams from people like Paizo or Geek and Sundry. And if you are interested in adding an awesome table to your gaming space at home, consider ordering before May 1st. They have a 0% sales tax going, and the link to their website will be the first thing in my video description today. So Edison has asked me to play this Mono Black Leyline Helm deck today. And this is apparently a pretty good deck. This is from a challenge top 8. We have played a lot of decks that looked like this on the channel in the past. I was sent this deck list by a handful of people being like, hey, did you see this? And I forget who it was, but someone said like, yeah, there's a lot of smart things going on with this deck list. So there are some cute interactions here. Sheoldred the Apocalypse is great with the One Ring. You have Goyf as something that you can Dark Ritual out or Ancient Tomb Chrome Mox out. You have opening hands that are playable without the ability to cast spells. You have some main deck anti-combo tech. And if you're randomly playing against an opposing One Ring deck, well, maybe you blank their One Rings. In post-sideboard games, you can have a pretty respectable amount of removal. We have 2 long goodbyes in game 1, as well as Fell the Profane, which is sometimes a land, sometimes something that just imprints to Chrome Mox, sometimes a removal spell. And again, if people are really trying to play things like the One Ring, like you might see in Moonstompy, having Orcish Bowmasters here to kind of give you some chip damage versus that is perfectly fine and good. These Mono Black Helm decks have been built a handful of ways recently. Sometimes they are a Beseech the Mirror deck list. Sometimes they are all in combo. This version specifically has the Helm of Obedience in the sideboard, so Karn is the way we're getting that. We don't have one in the main deck to just tutor up and cast. It is just fully reliant on Karn grabbing that. We do not have Dalthy Voidwalkers here for redundancy for that. We just have other cards that hopefully can singularly win the game on their own, given enough time. If we disrupt our opponent with one of these 3 cards, hopefully we can close out the game afterwards. So with that being said, let's hop into this and see how strong it actually is. If you find that you need any cards for these, check out my sponsor, toamagic.com. Use promo code ThrabenU to save yourself 5% on your order. You always get free shipping, and you can expedite that shipping if you've got a tournament in a hurry. If you're going to some major place like MagicCon Vegas, they'll be there as well. Check out the purple banners. They tend to have really cool stuff in person. Lots of like HP, MP deals, that sort of stuff. All right, let's battle. This is a little bit of a weird hand. I'm going to keep it. But we only have 1 black card that we can imprint under Chrome Mox, which is slightly awkward, because I would like Chrome Mox to be a persistent mana source, but I would also like to play this ASAP because it is a self-scaling card. The issue is that if I wait, Daze and Thoughtseize have a chance to take this. Whereas if I play it too early, Lightning Bolt has a chance to kill it when it otherwise wouldn't. I think we're going to get the show on the road immediately, but it would not be hard to convince me that this play was wrong. More realistically, I expect the Goyf to get answered one way or another, and then I try to run away with Urza's Saga, maybe putting a Pithing Needle on Wasteland. Alright, my opponent went into the tank for a little while, and then Dark Ritualed. There's the Thoughtseize that I played around by playing this out on turn 1. We'll see if my opponent is a fair Mono Black deck, or if this is the start of some combo nonsense. Alright, so probably closer to fair than not, but Emperor of Bones is going to do a decent job at shrinking my Goyf here. I'm going to be a 2-3 to their 2-2, so I will get at least one attack in here. And then I am probably Pithing, Needling, and Emperor of Bones. Alright, trigger. Yes. I make this bigger, which is great. So, yeah. And let's just shut that off. I'm more concerned about a Wasteland, but my opponent has put this card in their deck, right? And that means that they probably have something broken to do with it. Even if Troll of Khazad-dûm is not in here, Entomb Reanimate stuff very easily could. And if my opponent has, you know, Entomb this turn, Giant Archon of Cruelty or something next turn, that's probably pretty hard for me to come back from. Boo! My opponent can now eat that enchantment from the graveyard, shrink Goyf by 1, but I am still the larger creature by quite a bit. Unfortunately, it appears like my opponent has Fatal Push. Right, this is almost certainly block plus Fatal Push. I think I'm okay accepting that 2-for-1 trade, assuming that the One Ring ends up bailing me out later. But I might just not take the trade. This being reanimated before I get this going would be annoying. Let's make them have it. Oh, okay. They do not have it. I don't hit a creature. It will play out Urza's Saga and pass the turn. Opponent has a land drop. They can eat another thing. Moving Planeswalker. Not getting damage in with Emperor of Bones. Alright, cool. Go to Punchies. Alright, there's the block. I will Chrome Mox. Imprint that Leyline. Pass the turn. Opponent fetches for a Surveil land. I don't think they're actually a blue deck. I think that is just a random Surveil land that happens to be black. Alright, we're chilling. 3/3 token. Bowmasters is cool. That's something reasonable that I can cast on a diminished amount of mana. I will get a Chrome Mox to grow this stuff. Would I like to imprint this? I think I am fine imprinting this and making it easier to cast the One Ring. We're actually very, very light on targets for our Urza Saga, now that I'm thinking about it. This gets me to exactly 11. I am expecting something. Alright. They're taking out the Goyf. My opponent is at 6. If I resolve the One Ring, either one of these hitting my opponent is now lethal. Land drop. That is not unexpected. Fantastic. So, Saga, One Ring, get protection from everything. I'm not trading directly with one of these right now. Already made my land drop. This is fine. Next turn, these construct tokens are going to be big enough to rumble with the Goyf, although I might not be killing my opponent immediately. We'd like to dodge Bowmaster here. Alright. Opponent is chilling. I lose 1. I'm at like 30 life, though. Alright, fantastic. There is a very good chance that I just hardcast that to nuke one of these here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Would have 6. This is kind of an inconvenient amount of mana. I can play Trinisphere. They are both 7/7s. Or I can make Urza's Saga. I can make them both 8/8s. If I fell the Profane, I have a 6/6 to their 6/7. Fell the Profane this turn is not exactly great. Playing Trinisphere when I have the One Ring is also awkward. I think I'm just going to make the City of Traders as a land drop and pass the turn. And if my opponent gets aggressive in a way that I don't like, I can fell the Profane. Okay, they are both coming in. I wish I could do 2 things here, and I just can't. I think what I am going to do is awkwardly double block one of these and see if my opponent is going to attempt to get a blowout. They do, so they fatal push one of these. So this is now a 5/5. Now that that has happened, I think I fell the Profane, the one that would kill my Construct token. My opponent will gain some life here. I'd like to dodge them hitting exactly Orcish Bowmasters, which it looks like I did. They're going to get another Goyf. All right, they are holding up mana instead. Okay. A Dark Ritual. You have a Bowmaster. I would like to see it now. You do have a Bowmaster. Another Fell the Profane is a great pickup. This turn, I think I am interested in making another Urza Saga Construct token. These are now 6/6s and can safely attack. I have literal 0 artifacts left. I'll go ahead and send in here. Opponent not interested in blocks. I think this lifelinker is the most dangerous thing over there. I think I'm going to end up Fell the Profaning that in combat, and then just attacking through this stuff. I don't think I want to do it on my own turn, because things like Emperor of Bones exist. Hymn to Turok is fine. We'll take out the Goyf in response, and the Hymn is not particularly a big deal. We also kept the best card. Goyf is fine. Now neither one of these creatures can connect, or my opponent dies. Are we fine with Trinisphere turning these into 7 power creatures? Sure. That seems fine. Then we go to punchies. We punchies. I guess I didn't have to worry about Emperor Bones. Okay, this is fine. So my opponent is going to kill a construct token and let me keep drawing cards with the One Ring. That is fine. I honestly think on this board, I kill the Orc Army token and leave the Goyf, because this can be brought back. The token can't. I guess I am okay doing this. My own Bowmasters and a long goodbye. Love it. Crazy person, I could have sworn that I said kill Orc Army token. Yeah, for exactly this reason. Alright. Oh, right, Trinisphere. Sure. So I'll lose some life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 showing mana. That is 2 3-mana spells. That probably just means a Bowmaster and a long goodbye, and ignore my One Ring for right now. So I'll attack. Opponent double blocks. I long goodbye one of them for 3 mana. Kill the other one regularly in combat. Yeah. The fact that this is exactly another Urborg is a little awkward. I'm going to see if I hit a City of Traders. I do hit a City of Traders. Sheoldred is also a very good pickup. Let's play Sheoldred. I can discard an Ancient Tomb. And this Sheoldred will really put the squeeze on my opponent's resources. And they get exactly 1 spell, which I don't think can deal with both Construct and Sheoldred at the same time. So I draw a card, I gain some life, I'll go to combat, send in for what is presumably going to be lethal. So you can ping me here, this is no big deal, because I am going to do this. Ping your Bowmaster out of play, and then I have lethal. I can also just draw a billion cards with the One Ring to gain a billion life as well. Well, that was more work than it should have been to kill that player. But apparently I messed up assigning damage via Nethergoyf. I bet my brain just defaulted. Orc Army token is on the left. I have ordered blockers appropriately. But now I guess I have to manually click through damage. Okay, Chalices aren't particularly good. Trinispheres aren't particularly good here. I would like more removal. My Urza Saga Construct tokens are going to be a little small here. 3 Sudden Edicts in, a Goyf in those spots. Ensnaring Bridge is a reasonable thing to bring in. My opponent has more creatures that are larger than mine on average. I might just be bringing in some opposition agents as things that can put pressure on my opponent. It's also not crazy to just play Disruptor Flute for Wasteland so that my Urza Sagas can go the distance. I think my opponent's probably favored in this matchup. I think they have better early aggression than I do. They have more Goyfs than I do. And they probably have more removal than I do as well. I just have a better endgame, but some of that endgame is checked by Bowmasters. Maybe some stuff out of the sideboard that looks like this too. I think I want this on Wasteland, and I'm just going to fill the deck with that. Assuming no Thoughtseize, this hand is perfectly reasonable. It just spits out 5 power at instant speed. Assuming assuming Thoughtseize this hand is pretty bad. I think I am going to keep something with this degree of fast mana, and sometimes my opponent waits to do something like a Surveil land, and I do disgusting things. Dark Ritual and Goyf. Don't love that. I can currently check that instant speed in combat. That is pretty cool. I am potentially going to work towards just ensnaring, bridging that problem away. Pass a turn here. No, I did not want this to happen. This is very specifically a pain in the butt, because it grows this to a 3/4. I think I always lose Karn with this hand anyway, so Dark Ritual, Opposition Agent, Bowmasters. My opponent has not made a land drop yet, so things could happen. I think I'm going to mark a damage here, and if this is a damage wasted, so be it. So it's a 3/4 from Thoughtseize, and then a 4/5 afterwards. Sewers, and they like their card. This is probably the correct land to play, but it gives my opponent full information about what I have, so I'm not going to do that. A Damping Sphere. Sure. We are staring at each other. This staring match, I think, is favorable to me. But at some point, my opponent breaks through, right? And at the point where they can break through these things, life is very bad for me. Not sure which land is optimal to target here. Urborg is legendary. Ancient Tomb does damage. Yeah. So this was the sort of thing that I was afraid of, right? And now the 4/5 Goyf is capable of attacking in, and so I'm going to lose a little bit to this thing every turn until I stabilize the board. And we weren't lucky enough for our opponent to like have a fetch land that Opposition Agent gets to do cool things against. And Damping Sphere means this taps for 1. The 1 ring is bad with Bowmasters in play. I am not in a good spot. I expect to lose this game. Null Rod on top of it. Yikes. I think I need to keep this in play. I save 2 life per turn cycle that this card is in play. Ooh. Nice. That's exceptionally good. So now I can kill my opponent's Bowmaster and then try to run away with the game with the 1 ring. Again, these lands tap for 1 mana. I will Bowmaster the Bowmaster. Take a chump block so my opponent doesn't get to draw cards. Opponent could have done that pre-combat to, like, great effect. So let's go, yeah. City of Traders isn't all that valuable. It is a land that makes 1 colorless, so replacing it with a swamp is great. I will get a turn of fog, and then hopefully I get a removal spell to take this out. Thank you. Now I get to look at my opponent's deck. Filigree Silex is great to know about. Unstoppable Slasher, Turok in some flex slots. Fatal Push, Sheoldred's Edict. We already seen. There's not actually as many removal spells in my opponent's deck as I thought there would be. There's like 4. And then the weird pseudo removal spell things. Okay. There's a Fatal Push. So can't you do that where you get the land though, right? So like Bloodstained Mire is sacrificed, the ability is on the stack with that ability, like with the fetch land still on the stack. It's already in graveyard. You can Fatal Push my Opposition Agent there. Hey, it is literally exactly the thing that I wanted to draw next. Now I'm only taking 3 damage per turn cycle, and hopefully I have some time to get stuff like Karn down to 12. Urza Saga is a fine pickup here. I can trade 1 with a Plague Engineer, and then wall some of my opponent's stuff. 9. And again, we have seen our opponent's deck. They don't have all that many removal spells. Guess I can do this in my opponent's upkeep. So I will Disruptor Flute. We're mainly doing this so that my Urza Saga doesn't get wastelanded. But the secondary benefit is that this is also growing the Urza Saga tokens. So it appears that our opponent has a removal spell for this first token that I'm going to make. Yep. I'm at 6. That's pretty damn good. Am I fine going to 4? I think I'm fine going to 4. So this is a 3/3. I'll grab Pithing Needle. Name Emperor of Bones with this one. Then I Goyf, which very noticeably I do not get to do if I do not have that extra land from my opponent here. This taps for 1 mana, not 2. Have another removal spell? Okay, they take out my Goyf, which is great. They need to do that. There's the Wasteland that we played around. Opponent sends in with both. I think I just take out a creature here and go to 2. And don't trade with the Death Toucher and leave my opponent a creature on an empty board. A little awkward. Orcish Bowmasters is now pretty good. I will put this in play in case we gain access to a Helm later. Orcish Bowmasters kills me 1 to the face, and then my opponent can go wide of this single creature. They do not have it immediately. Alright, opponent is passing the turn. Fantastic. Well, that is absolutely what I need here. I think I am just going to pass the turn. My opponent's not incentivized to block here, right? And if they attacked, I would have to block. Opposition Agent. Fantastic. So now I would like a removal spell for Plague Engineer so I can attack with this Goyf. That is not that. Is 7 life valuable enough to me that I give up the Goyf? I don't think so. I think I'm going to wait it out. It's awkward because if my opponent draws a removal spell and kills this, I die if I don't attack. But if I attack and trade, and then my opponent has a removal spell for this, I will be at 9 life, and this is a 3-turn clock anyway. I think I'm going to chill. Hey, we got 2 life out of our opponent by holding Ancient Tomb. I think my opponent has figured out that they have Damping Sphere, and now cannot cast whatever spell it is that they want to cast. I'm just going to pass the turn here. I think I am likely dead if my opponent has another live spell that they can play end of turn here. No, they do not. They have some creature or something that they could not cast. That might mean something like another Opposition Agent or Goyf. Plague Engineer comes in. I make this trade. Now what? Fatal Push. Sure. And this is where not making an attack feels awkward. That is a Karn, but I don't have mana to do things. Instead, what I need to do is plus on a large artifact. And the game continues. This is an artifact that does not innately eat Fatal Push. Unstoppable Slasher, you've got it. Is now a rather awkward game. Now I minus. Yes. Get Helm. No. Get Bridge. Elrod. So Dark Ritual just to get it out of hand. And then Ensnaring Bridge. And this becomes kind of a miserable game to actually win in terms of number of clicks required to do things. I will eventually win. I should have my just latticed this turn. I am trying to move quickly because timing out is a real concern. Always yield to that. All right, perfect. A land is great here. Oh wait, my opponent has Null Rod, right? So this would also shut off my shit. Oops. Null Rod's a problem. I'll get around that in a minute. I will draw a removal spell and just take out Null Rod. Just animate it and kill it. This is fine as well. Plus on a Deuter. There's the Saga Construct tokens. Of Bones is fine. Its abilities can't actually be activated. All right, fantastic. All right, so plus on Null Rod. Spell the Profane on Null Rod. And then I just need a mana source to stick Mycosynth Lattice. That's not actually a mana source. Oh, I can just win with Helm now. Null Rod's gone. Minus. Yes. Helm. Bam, 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 bam. Dead. Alright, we win the match there. That was not the cleanest win on my end. I had more elegant lines. We ended up getting there, like I had my opponent relatively locked out, but there were things that could have gone wrong. I think we only win that match because my opponent messed up the Fatal Push Opposition Agent thing. That 1 extra land bought me so much time and so much life. GG's. All right, I am keeping my opening hand here. I think I'm going to put both Leyline of the Voids in play. I don't have Chrome Mox in this hand, and Chrome Mox is very, very quickly going to become an uncastable card. I am absolutely into Dark Ritual on turn 1, and I believe that I lead on Trinisphere. Trinisphere has resolved. The only card we care about right now is exactly the card Wasteland. That is not Wasteland. That's a decent follow-up draw. My opponent will be able to do something on this next turn. Hopefully it's not something that kills my Goyf. If we are playing against a Moon Stompy variant, things like Fury kill this right now, when they oftentimes would not otherwise. It's sort of unfortunate that we hit a deck that does not care about our Leyline and does not care about our Trinisphere. Well, I guess, like, does not care is a bit of an exaggeration, but can largely play around it. A Magus of the Moon. Well, that's mighty interesting. Fuck. This is a 1-2. I could trade with Magus of the Moon. I am currently willing to do that because I could just play the One Ring, and Urza Saga would be an actual land. It is not often that I would make this trade, and opponent does not accept it. I do not want to put that card in my hand because it is currently growing my Goyf. And now I am unfortunately passing the turn. We don't have a lot of short-term agency. Opponent does have more lands. Yeah, I think we're going to lose this game. Ooh. Now opponent has a lot of agency. Like, do they just want to nuke this? They do. There's an eventual answer to that card. Do I want to answer it right now? I don't think so. I think I just play the One Ring. So I lose City, play the One Ring, and we've just got to hope that this spirals. Raw. Yeah. Broadside's real good. One needs more mana. And I'm less good at presenting fast haste damage than my opponent's deck. I can also really just eat it to another Blood Moon effect here. Oh no. I think this is still very favorable for my opponent. I have protection from everything. Lose 1. Mox not great with Trinisphere around. I am willing to draw my cards here. I have some very powerful hits. These aren't them. I'll pass the turn here. I can make a 3/3 Urza Saga construct token this turn and go from there. Maybe I needed to fell the Profane this turn. Like maybe Broadside, just nuking my entire life total in one turn is scary enough that I just have to proactively play around it. Yikes. That's not good. Yeah, so I would do that by playing City of Traders, but then I would be losing 2 lands to themselves over the next turn cycle. It would mean that I'm not good at further utilizing the One Ring. Bad spot. How many basic swamps do I actually have? Like 6? 5 basic swamps? Yeah, for being a monocolored deck, we're actually quite bad versus Blood Moon effects. Goodbye, Urza Saga. Ooh. They junked their One Ring to kill my token. I'm slightly surprised about. But maybe they just figure they win the game if this Broadside stays in play. 12. Raw. If not for my own Trinisphere. Got some good lines. Oh shit, I'm just dead, right? Take 4, go to 8. Take 5, go to 3. Dead. Can't cast this. Can't do this plus something else. Yeah. Yep, we wanted to be playing against like a blue-black tempo deck with like a Leyline of the Void Trinisphere opener, and that is not what happened. I would like to get rid of all 7 of these cards. So Edict's in, Disruptor Flute probably coming in, Goyf coming in. These can come in, fail with 1 opposition agent like I did before. The Leyline of the Voids aren't very exciting here either. They will sometimes limit some damage from Barrowgoyfs, though. This is fine. I think I lead on Urborg to further incentivize my opponent to play a Blood Moon effect when I don't super care about the Blood Moon effect. Like, if it's a Magus, I just Sudden Edict it. And I think these are spells this game. I have 4 mana in hand already. Mountain? And pass. Okay. So I will hopefully just Sudden Edict away a creature that my opponent plays, and then drop a Sheoldred on an empty board. Sheoldred great versus a One Ring that my opponent could have. 17. Spirit Guide. That's fine. I play Sheoldred into that. That's actually okay. Not exactly what I wanted to happen, but it's hopefully fine. Dark Ritual. So despite the fact that I have 6 mana, I don't have 6 mana in a way that lets me Sudden Edict on my opponent's turn, right? So I play Ancient Tomb, I can tap out for Sheoldred, I can play Dark Ritual, I have to tap 1 other land to get to 4 to play Sheoldred, and then I can have like Ancient Tomb available, which doesn't work. So let's just save this for next turn then, and drop Sheoldred. Hopefully Sheoldred just does not eat double red removal spell here, or Broadside could be a problem. Like Broadside, throw the One Ring. All right, get drained. All right, City. That's a Broadside. That can answer my Sheoldred. That's unfortunate for me. We'll see if my opponent takes some damage to draw cards first. Oh. So, wait, hold on. Did my opponent just not throw that? Oh yeah, that's a big misclick. So what my opponent was supposed to do was evoke trigger on the stack, throw it at Sheoldred, then they get to keep the One Ring and spiral this game out of control. Now, if they want to kill my Sheoldred, they need to throw the One Ring. So that's massive. They are not willing to throw the One Ring. Wow. All right. So all of my removal spells are just instants. So I will pass the turn here. Opponent takes 1 from their ring. Going to 9. Takes 2 more from Sheoldred here. Goes to combat. At which point I'm just going to use an expensive removal spell here. We'll go 1, 2, 3, and 4 to kill Broadside. And in a pinch, I have Urborg, so I can still Dark Ritual into Sudden Edict afterwards. Yeah, that was a singular misclick that probably cost my opponent this game and gives us a chance to get there in Game 3. I am still not particularly confident about the matchup as a whole, though. Again, Moon is fine against us, and their deck is aggressive. This does not produce black mana easily. I have it. I can get Mooned into Oblivion. But I have removal, I have card draw, I have Annoying Thing. I'm going to keep it, and sometimes we lose the game on turn 1. From Mox. Okay, we're going in. I have turn 2 Karn. If I lead on Ancient Tomb or City of Traders instead. Multiple MDFCs under there, and a Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. Yeah, I might just be doing turn 2 Karn here. Off Ancient Tomb City. That shots off Treasure and double Chrome Mox. I think I'm into it. So the fear is that my opponent does something like a Moon this turn that makes this not produce 2 mana. Ooh, that's pretty good. 16. Are you going to throw a treasure at my face? Broadside means that I don't have a stable board for Karn, because Karn can plus to 6, but Broadside can throw. Yeah, I think I have to deal myself a billion D damage here. So I take 3. I'm going to take 2 more to do this. And then I hope that at some point in the future I can use Karn to stabilize. I'm going to have a Fable here. That's a problem. Yeah, my opponent having Broadside specifically was a big deal. If it's some other 2/2, I can maybe get through this. Yikes. Alright, so now I don't have black mana to play this Goyf, which was my way to stabilize the board versus these smaller creatures. Hopefully I top deck one of my swamps. I can't get a Chrome Mox right now. I don't have a black card to imprint. Thank you, Karn. Very cool. I take 6 this next turn, and then I'm pretty likely dead. Have a tiny bit more time if I end up playing Felmire tapped on turn 1. Yeah, no. We are dead instantly. GG's. Close game overall, or rather close match overall, but not really a close round. Remember, we only got a game 3 because my opponent misclicked. I think this deck is going to run us over a lot of the times like it did here. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists, and they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out. Okay, so there is a tempo question here of, is it worth it to give up 1 Bowmaster to play a Bowmaster immediately on turn 1? That is wildly dependent on what matchup this is. I think given all of the 4-drops in my deck, I probably end up doing this anyway. I am going to put one of these into play immediately and play it around days because I am already playing the next Bowmaster around days. Commercial District. We are potentially playing against a Storm deck here. This is not a very commonly seen land. A lot of times when you see this, you are playing against something like the Epic Storm. You're a 0-1 right now, but I'm going to need you to do some work here. This makes my opponent's mana ever so slightly better if I play it. I have things like the One Ring that make me want to hit my land drops here. I'm going to do it. It does make my opponent's mana better. I'm going to assume that my opponent does have black mana over there, though. Yeah, so there was the black mana. Now, throwing it out there, how would you feel about casting a draw 7? Just between you and me, what are your thoughts? Whoa, you got to do what you got to do. Note that opponent's deck potentially has something like Veil of Summer that can help out with stuff like this. Bam. Hey, it's Veil of Summer. So my opponent dodges that damage, and I don't draw my Orc. And we'll see if they can combo off through these. Dark Ritual. Only 2 cards left in hand. That is a Beseech, storm count of 6. I think this exactly does it. So you do Gaia's Will, Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual is mana, Chrome Mox is the 4th mana to Beseech again, assuming that there is a colored card remaining in hand, which there is. So I am dead. So Dark Ritual, Beseech, Beseech for Tendrils. And that was a turn 2 through double Bowmasters. For pretty much exact Cs, though, right? Like, opponent needed everything to go right there. That was something that was difficult to do. Okay. Opposition agents are fine. Disruptor flutes, I guess, are a thing that I can play. They're not the most exciting. Long Goodbye is not very strong. Pithing Needle is not very strong. Get in here, opposition agents. I could probably turn a Goyf into one of those. Probably turn a Goyf into a Disruptor Flute. But then I'm getting to the point where I don't really want to cut cards. I don't want to cut something like Fel the Profane. It is a part of my mana base. I could get rid of a Sholdred. I could get rid of a One Ring. The card advantage doesn't super matter here. This feels too slow. I don't do anything on turn 1, and as we saw, a win through Bowmasters is very possible. This plays a Chalice on 0 into a Disruptor Flute, and I have Bowmasters. This is pretty mid. I think I will keep it, but it's pretty mid. We will shut off Artifact mana in the short term, and play an ETB tapped land. Badlands? And pass the turn. I don't believe that I'm ready to start funneling mana into Urza's Saga yet. I think I'm just going to make Swamp as my land drop. We are chilling, in which case I'm going to get Orcish Bowmasters down now. Ping my opponent. 19. Ooh, I like that. It does mean that I'm not going to do the cheeky line. Opponent discards an Echo. 17. The cheeky line here is Disruptor Flute on Veil of Summer, so that it can't be used to force things through Chalice of the Void. Now, hopefully my opponent plays a fetch land. Gamble. I would like to respond. Yeah. Alright, so now we gotta do the same thing when we're on the draw, which is a lot harder, because on the draw, we can get turned 1 super easily. Leyline of the Void is the only thing that I've got going on here. Opposition agent. Great card in the matchup. My opponent is keeping 7 cards. I am on the draw. I'm not willing to keep something that looks like this. It falls apart to a Thoughtseize. This one can get turned 1, but does not fall apart to a Thoughtseize. I am willing to keep this one. I have no idea what goes back. Karn is very good in this matchup, but it's just the most expensive thing in this hand. So I think Karn goes back. And we just hope we don't die on turn 1. A Thoughtseize on turn 1 can take Dark Ritual, which is why I am keeping Bowmaster. Bowmaster is at least a card that does something if I get Thoughtseized. So, damage report, Captain. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Alright, it's Echo. So we're not deterministically dead here. We're maybe dead. This is why I would have liked a Leyline hand. My new hand that I got is considerably worse than my previous hand. Gamble. Just junking a Thoughtseize is probably not what my opponent gambled for, unfortunately. I imagine that I am now dead. There is a Beseech the Mirror, Storm Count of 8, or Gaia's Will. I think my opponent can just sack their LED here in all likelihood. Oh yeah, Tendrils even in graveyard now. Okay. GG's. Leyline would have been great. Okay. I do not have any starting mana here. This is a no-go. This hand is fine. Am I keeping or ignoring the Leyline? I'm probably keeping it. Probably tapped land, regular land, city, Bowmaster on 2, Sheoldred on 3. Ignore Ancient Tomb. Leyline will randomly steal some wins or annoy our opponents. Tapped land and pass. Ancient Tomb Gamer. Hopefully this is not mono red again. We have already figured out that we're not great in that matchup. It is most likely mono red. We are not ready to start Urza, Saga, Ing, and we also want to avoid further incentivizing our opponent to play Blood Moon. I would like to get this Sheoldred in play. Oh, so this is a blue deck. Now that I know that fact, I think I am just going to Bowmaster my opponent before this card can be dazed. This is potentially some show and tell nonsense. There's other things it can be. Yeah. Sheoldred. Please draw cards. Please draw cards. That is not drawing cards. That is putting cards into your hand. I specifically asked you to draw cards. This is bullshit. Dead. Alright. Let's assume Long Goodbye does not do anything. Let's assume Opposition Agent slaps. Disruptor Flute on Show and Tell is good. Sudden Edicts are something that I can play. They are not exciting. I think they're going to end up in my deck. Karn is awkward here. Karn is incredibly slow in this matchup. Karn is a way to tutor for Ensnaring Bridge, though, which is something that matters. I think I will get rid of Pithing Needle. It does some things. It's probably not particularly good if my opponent is mono blue or close to it. My opponent is on sneak attacks. I will reevaluate that card. Karn also tutors Helm, which puts a lot of tension on my opponent. I think I need the Karns. In fact, I might usually be winning with Karn, meaning I get rid of those. Sheoldred is highly aggressive. I don't think that's how I'm playing this. I think I'm going to get these in and maybe help break up some Omniscience kills. This split second. My opponent's not going to get to counter that. Thinking about cutting Bowmasters. They are a perfectly fine card. But I think I'm trying to play Prison here, not aggro. I could also have gone for some of the Trinisphere looking stuff. Hand's okay. It's probably not going anywhere too fast, but it's hopefully okay. That's just a sorcery speed brainstorm there. My opponent could have Lorien revealed to shuffle, or they could just be trying to play around Bowmaster very aggressively. So I believe that my opponent is going to Lorien reveal cycle to shuffle, but I still think I am going to do this like this. Nice. And not give any chance for it to go wrong. I love this pause. I love this pause from my opponent. This is delicious for me after they just Emrakuled me. Ancient Tomb. Scary. I'm not leading directly into a Karn kill here. My opponent does not have Show and Tell and the ability to go off. I could just play Opposition Agent and try to 3-turn clock my opponent. Or I can do what I'm going to do. And drop Karn. And attempt to put an Ensnaring Bridge in hand. That is an impulse. Looks at the top 4, meaning that that's not stopped. That's a colorless mana, that doesn't matter. I will go ahead and minus. Yes. I'm going to put Ensnaring Bridge in there for now. In a minute, we can grab Helm of Obedience and threaten that. But I think in the short term, if my opponent show and tells, I need to be able to put in Ensnaring Bridge to stop stuff. Okay. So there's the Omniscience. And we can, try to gamble there and put Trinisphere in to stop my opponent from casting some stuff. But I'm hoping that this is enough to hold off my opponent. And this may or may not actually be true. They're a blue deck with free spells. They're gonna do a lot of stuff. Cunning Wish. If my opponent had that Cunning Wish when they cast the Omniscience, I would have Trinisphere in play. Wipe Away is very good. Okay, Wipe Away is going to do it. What would my next draw be? My next draw would be a regular land. GG's. So, this is an incredibly high variance hand. This is a hand that will win the game on turn 1 if our opponent is playing a combo deck. Because we go Leyline, Chalice on 0, land, Dark Ritual, Trinisphere. However, I will have 1 mana and no ability to do a follow-up threat. I don't believe that I'm willing to take that gamble on 7 cards. On 6 or 5, I would keep this in a heartbeat. But something I say a lot is that lock pieces without follow-up, like, it does not tend to be a good hand. This is fine. I think I'm going to keep this and play towards Sheoldred being good. Opponent is going to 5. I will Leyline of the Void. Or Ancient Tomb Gamers. A different variety. This is unfortunately combo. Our first hand probably would have won the game. So is Chalice of the Void on 0 or 1 better? Defense Grid plus Ancient Tomb is often show and tell. It could be something like Ruby Storm as well. If I play Ancient Tomb and top deck Karn, I can cast it next turn. I'm going to play Ancient Tomb. My Pithing Needle probably isn't relevant. I am going to Chalice on 1. I am not convinced this is correct. Saga? Artisan's Talent. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you can loot. Alright, got it. Alright, Trinisphere is fantastic. Perfectly happy with that. So this is, I guess, my Pithing Needle target in future games. So that my opponent can't level it up. I have Manamorphose. Sure. Junking and Echo of Eons. Okay, so yeah, the Leylines have text here. So this next Chalice of the Void, does it go on 2 or 0? I think it goes on 0. I don't know, there's things like Burning Wish. Let's do X equals 2. 3 mana from my opponent, or a Lotus Petal. Sure. I write Spellbomb. Urza's Saga. If I never draw another black source, I will lose to Urza's Saga. I'm playing this for a potential Goyf in the future, by the way. I am not misplaying here. There's not an artifact in graveyard yet. I will be so disappointed if I just bottom out and never draw a black land. Alright. Opponent has 2 4/4s. Respectable mana. Lotus Petal on 3 mana. Yeah, I take 6. I die next turn. Like, I just straight up die if I don't draw a relevant card. I'm so upset. I am so incredibly upset right now. We should win game 1 against this deck the vast majority of the time. My Long Goodbyes can probably go. My Pithing Needle can probably go. These are always fine. These are always fine. My opponent is an Echo deck. This is fine. Echo deck. This is fine. Never messing with the mana. Leylines are good. So if I want to do further adjustments, I'm looking at One Rings and Goyfs. So like Disruptor Flutes are okay. Presumably there's some sort of gamble-like tutor that I need to respect. I think I don't need this card advantage. I'm going to play Disruptor Flutes. I don't think I want another one of these. I'm okay keeping a couple in the deck just as something that can help me hedge against Urza's Saga. And if I need a One Ring, I can in theory still get it by tutoring with Karn. This is fine. I think this plays Chalice on 0 on turn 1. And then Karn on turn 2. Opponent's going to 4. The more interesting question is, which land do I play? That's actually like surprisingly difficult. Because like I can naturally play Karn, or I can Dark Ritual into Karn. Something could in theory happen to the Dark Ritual. Something in theory could happen to my entire hand. We got real weird. I think I'm just going to play Swamp, Ancient Tomb, and pass. We're going to ignore that. So Dark Ritual, Karn. I just Karn and plus this turn. Alright, that's just enough for my opponent after they have mulliganed. The Karn doesn't actually do that much with the Chalice already in play. Like, those both cover artifacts. Okay. Opening hand has 4 different disruptive cards and some mana. My opponent has mulliganed once. Echo on turn 1 is scary. I think I'll just keep it. I don't think this is a matchup that I just always mulligan for Leyline, because my opponent just has other things going on in their deck than just Echo. Artist's Talent, yeah, that's fine. Sure. Echo to Yard. Okay. I now have a lot of different things to worry about at the same time. I am going to always Chalice on 0. I'm always going to cast Disruptor Flute. I think I am making Echo more expensive, and hoping that my opponent does not have a land to make 2 Urza Saga Construct tokens. I am okay with them having 1. Wear down. What does that do? Destroy target artifact or enchantment if it was promised destroy 2, and my opponent had enough to exactly echo afterwards. Hate that. Hopefully they can't combo off here, in which case I just have some really good Chalice stuff going on afterwards. Sure. Gamble. That can always make another echo happen, which is what's happening. Stock up in the deck as well. Sure. Another Artist's Talent. My hand currently has no black mana and no hate card to cast. Okay, I mean, that's something. However, I am quite unhappy with what's going on here. So let's not lose to Urza Saga tokens. And then I think I just pass the turn here. The City of Traders situation is quite awkward. Possible that I should play Ancient Tomb there. But my life total maybe is relevant. I don't know if my opponent has some fair way to kill me with some leveled Artist's Talents if this game drags on. Alright, level an Artist's Talent. Anamorphose. Lotus Petal. Opponent Jonked Haywire Might. That's an indication that they believe that they can just kill me in a fair capacity. Stock up. Guess I need to pop out this zone. Anamorphose. More stock up. LED. Finding an Echo. Great Furnace. Are we echoing? Not yet. Now we're going to crack the LEDs and probably try to cycle through their deck again. Alright. I have a much better hand. There's a Pyrite Spellbomb, which, you know, I guess in theory can dome me, right? If my opponent levels up Artist Talent a bunch of times. At this point, I am going to narrate relevant changes to the board state. Alright, we have a Wish. Presumably, this will now kill me. Alright, there is a Grape Shot, and we can concede the game. GG's. Rough league. Alright, so how do we feel about the deck at the end of the league? Pretty mid, honestly. I think the deck building is fine. I just don't know that this is a deck that I would want to be registering right now. So you are a Goyf deck that is not good at putting cards into your own graveyard and often shuts off your opponent's graveyard so that this card doesn't grow from their graveyard. This is awkward to me. We live in a format that is so fast that when you play against some artifact decks, your Karn does not come down fast enough to be relevant. We saw this happen versus Moon Stompy, where we had a Karn that was going to shut off, I think, 2 Chrome Mox as well as treasure tokens, and then my opponent had 4 power plus the ability to broadside throw on their turn 2, and on my turn 2 I could not play Karn. Versus the combo decks, while Karn is in theory a good card, I was often not getting to 4 mana before my opponent put a win attempt into play. Our Storm opponent won on, I think, turn 2 through double Orcish Bowmasters. In the final round there, our lock pieces were either too slow or were not quite doing enough to get a win. I think this deck is working too hard for current Legacy. I'm glad that Funny Man had a good challenge run here, but I don't know that I could recommend this deck in good faith as far as like competitive standards go. The sideboard numbers felt pretty clean. There was not a lot of waste there, but I do not feel like we won the matchups that we, in theory, should be good against, which is probably telling, right? Like, if we are not beating these graveyard-based decks that Chalice and Trinisphere are good against, then why are we playing this deck? I could have mulliganed more aggressively than I did, but, you know, if you mulligan to try to get Leyline into play, then you start running into one Thoughtseize or one, whatever that green enchantment gift a card thing was, Wear Away, I think. Like one card messing up your opening hand pretty badly, rather than having some redundancy, so there's some problems there. We are also surprisingly bad against Blood Moon, and needing to cast black cards in the Blood Moon matchup was a really big deal too. So I think I'm going to give this one a thumbs down. I enjoyed playing it a lot. I think the games were intricate, but I think a lot of the games that we won were because our opponents misclicked or made an objective mistake of some kind, like with that Fetchland Fatal Push opposition agent situation that came up. So I think I'm going to give this one a thumbs down, but I hope you all enjoyed watching it, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. And if you need some cards, you know where to get them. See ya!